this is Deborah Carroll, and I'm back for my second Flosstube. It's been about 3 weeks since I recorded. I didn't want to wait that long, but in the interim, I got sick, and even today I've got allergies. I can't see very well because my eyes are running, but I'm just going to go for it, and hopefully I'll be able to see my cards. Can't see the camera, so I'm not sure I'll know what's being up on the recording, but we'll give it a try. I noticed on my first Flosstube I neglected to tell you about my family background. It was because I recorded it so many times that by the time on the last recording I thought I had told about my family because I'd done it so many times. So chalk that up to being a first-time recorder. But I am married. I've been married over 40 years. Met my husband when I was in graduate school. We were both in music school, so classical musicians. After I got out of school, I came back home and we started a family. And I ended up working with my family business, which my parents had owned a life insurance agency, and then my brothers came to work for them and expanded that into property and casualty insurance. And so I went to work with most of my family. I had 2 brothers and a sister, and my sister's a doctor of psychology down in Mississippi in Gulfport. So most of the family worked together for a lot of years, and then later in life I went back and got my law degree, and I still worked for insurance companies until I started doing what I'm doing now, which is working with handicapped, intellectually disabled individuals, adult individuals that need someone to help them that don't have other family members that can be their conservator. We call it conservatorships here in Tennessee, not guardianships. So that's what I do. I get appointed as conservator or as an attorney ad litem, so I spend a lot of my time going to hospitals and care facilities. I have had 3 children. I have 2 sons. My oldest, Ian, is living in Louisville, Kentucky. He's going to get married in October, so I'll talk about that later. And my youngest son lives here in Nashville. My daughter was the in-between child. She was born with a disability. For a long time we didn't know exactly what it was because it was very rare. She was born in 1984. And about when she was 4 or 5 years old, we finally figured out what it was. It was Rett syndrome, and so the outlook wasn't very good, but she did very well. She walked until the very end. She couldn't walk long distances, but she did walk. She loved to eat. She loved to have you sing to her. She loved music. She loved watching Wheel of Fortune. She loved, game shows, different things like that, and she loved being around her brothers and her mom and dad. So as I told you last time, she died in 2018, 3 months after my mother died. So 2018 was a hard year, and it was after that I switched from working with insurance companies to working with the elderly and intellectually disabled adults, and handicapped adults. So that's the background on my family, and I think we'll just get into things. I thought what I'd do this time was to tell you about the WIPs I'm working on, not show you all my WIPs, but to show you the ones. I have like 2 bins, and I've got my bags in there with all my WIPs, and the one bin is in another room, and it sits there because they're not my want to work on in the next few months kind of projects. The bin that sits next to me have projects that are things that I really am working on. They're in my rotation or need to be in my rotation in the next couple of months. So that's what I'm going to show you. What I thought I would start with, though, is the thing that's going to start this weekend on Saturday, the 22nd. I am going to start a SAL. I'm leading a SAL for Margarita Seekins 1815. It's a reproduction sampler that Sambry Stitches put together. It's got a lot of interesting information that Modern Folk Embroidery got for her about the history of this person that stitched the original sampler. I have seen the original sampler, so I did go over to market when it was here in Franklin, Tennessee, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from me in Nashville, and I saw the original, and it's beautiful. I explained to you, if you haven't seen, go back to my very first 1A, Flosstube 1A, and I explained to you why I picked it out. It was because of the ship, and so I left the ship up behind me this time, but I won't explain all that, but it has to do with my father. So what I thought I would do was to show you a few of the linens that I have looked at for this. Now, this is a picture. Here's a picture that shows you that with the ship that I was talking about. It has little people on the ship. I just love it. Now, this was stitched on vintage from Bestitch Me, so I've got that as an option. This is kind of the way I do things. This SAL is really a good example of just how I do things for myself. I first will, if it's a big SAL or something that I know is going to take me more than a month or so, then I will divide it up. And there I've divided it up into 6 parts. So I feel like I can get this done in 6 months if I follow this scheme of doing it in 6 parts. Now, they're labeled 1 through 6, but it does not mean you have to do them in that order. You could start down here at 6, you could start in the middle at 2, you could start anywhere. But I've just labeled them that way for having some way to designate each part. I could have said A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. So I put these up on my Instagram. Deborah Carroll Stitcher is my Instagram, and I put this divided into 6 sections on my Instagram, so if anyone wants to follow along that way, they're welcome to. If you're going to work on it, you can work on it just at your own pace. I never ask for people to do things the same way I do at all, but I just show people the way I do it. If they want to, if it helps them get things finished, then that's fine. Sometimes people just get tired of doing something and they want to divide it up into different months, and they've got other things in their rotation, and that's just fine. Other people like to work on something monogamously and get it done. That's fine too. So this fabric from Bestitch Me that goes along with this vintage, this is the fabric. Now let's see if I can get it up here. It is, if you can tell, we've got some sunlight coming in, but it has a lot of pink to it. Pinky, mauve-y looking to it. I don't think that's showing it very well. But that is definitely an option. Now, the called for are DMCs. But what I did is I got Janine at Acorns and Threads to pull together some MPI silks, an MPI silk pack. And this is the silk pack. If you can, I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's the silk pack. So if we put that up against the Bestitch Me, that looks pretty good. I also thought about, since this has, you know, kind of a nautical theme, what if we tried it on a blue? There's a light blue. I don't think that I like the blue with the choices. That was a Grace Notes Blueberry Milkshake. It's a beautiful piece. Grace Notes has beautiful colors. It's a milkshake. I think that was from her Fabric of the Month club I was in. And so that's a beautiful color. Maybe not for this. I pulled out Cedar River Albarium. And the problem here is probably this cream color is not going to work on that. It's too light. I pulled out another Grace Notes that I just ordered. And this is Molly from Grace Notes. It's really more of a creamy. The colors look great on that, but I think the lighter color floss is just going to be too light for it. I pulled out Fiber on a Whim, Milk and Honey, and I got that from Janine at Acorns and Thread as a possible option. And this is a very good possible option. So I'm going to put that over here in my possibly stitch on that. This one is Tephra from Cedar River Linen. Tephra is good. It's showing up too light with the light shining on it. That is a good option. I also pulled out Vintage Country Mocha. Vintage Country Mocha is a good option. And pulled out Seraphim Antique Lace. And I really wish you could see this better because that Seraphim Antique Lace is a great, great color. Just the light from the outside is too much to show, but that's a great color for it. Then I ordered one more, which I thought, you know, can we pull out any blues for the, and I got this piece, and I'm sad you won't be able to see it, but it's got some blue touches in it. I'm going to turn it over to the other side so maybe you can see a little better. Got some blue in there, and which reminds me of water, and I thought about using that. However, there is one thing that's going to be a problem, is I believe this white, or this off-white creamy shade of floss is not to be able to be seen very well. So, but I really love that. The fabric is, picture this plus Tycho, T-Y-C-H-O, but it's beautiful with that, with the blue swirls in there. So I think my top contenders may be the Antique Lace from from Seraphim Fabrics, and Tephra, Milk and Honey from Fiber on a Whim, and I'm thinking the for me doing this in honor of my dad, the Be Stitch Me Vintage probably is a little too pink for that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful fabric, Be Stitch Me's Vintage. So I'll use that for something. So we'll see by the time we start on Saturday which fabric I use. But that's kind of what I do, is I take my flosses that I'm going to use, and I will, you know, put it up against fabrics that I have or fabrics that I've ordered, and I say, what do I like the best? And usually I'll find something. Sometimes I don't, and I've started on something I don't like, and I'll give you an example of that in a minute. But, you know, usually you'll find something, and on here I've got several good options. I could do it on the Be Stitch Me. I could do it on a couple of those things. So we are having a Zoom. For those that are joining along in this SAL, we're having a Zoom on Saturday night, so 7 o'clock Central. So I've got that up, and I'll put it up again closer to time, but if you want to join in on that, be sure to join in, and we'll just start together and be able to look at everybody's fabrics they're using and flosses and you know, get started. So as I've said before, I really like oh, I didn't mention my t-shirt. I have to show my t-shirt. I've got my own logo, Deborah Carroll Stitcher. This Athena at Stitching Goddess Designs did the logo for me and also made a couple of t-shirts for me at very, very reasonably priced. I would say if anyone wants to do that, I think the fabric is good, the fit is good, and so if you want to get anything from her, I'm not getting anything from this, but she is Stitching Goddess Designs on Instagram, and she's very good with working on her. We worked through several iterations of the design. I wanted something just very simple, and so, you know, if you want to go that route, be sure to get in touch with Athena. One of the other SALs that I'm working on is Teresa Koget's Simple Life. So here's what we've got so far. And this is for Tier 4 Patreons. So if you are interested, go join her Patreon, and you have to be a Tier 4 to join in on this SAL. But every month we get several patterns for being a member of that Patreon, and get special discounts for her other work in her Etsy shop. So I'm doing this on Cedar River Linens Overcast, and I'm using the called for DMC threads. So as you can see, I've got some more bee skeps and some other things to fill in. This is the start of a bird. This is the first month went up to right about here, and all of this is the second month. So it's an 8-month SAL, and it comes out the 15th of every month. Another SAL I'm following along with is the Sewing Room SAL, and the Sewing Room SAL is by Little Dove Designs, and this is where it comes out on the 1st of every month. This is where I've gotten so far. Shoot. I am getting a glare. Getting a glare, but maybe there. So Little Dove Designs, and it finishes in July. I'm using Witchell Golden Needle Linen and the Call for DMCs. Then another SAL I'm following along with is this one. It's the drawn thread. It's called Sunnyside Sampler, and I believe this started at Stitch West. I did not go to Stitch West, but I believe some ladies at Stitch West decided this would be their choice to work on the whole year until the next Stitch West this year. So it started last year, and Colette Stitcher on Instagram, the Highway Stitcher, she is the one that is leading this SAL. So they divided it up into monthly for each house, and I used the kit that came from Drawn Thread. So this is 32 count natural vintage linen with their dinky dye linens or silks. my birthday was in March, and so I wanted to start something that I've been wanting to work on for a long time, and it's the Red Deer Sampler by GGR. So I put together fabrics, which I'd been trying to pull together in the flosses for a long time, and here is where I'm at so far on that. I love deers, and so I'll probably, when I get this done, do some other deer samplers. But this is on Fox and Rabbit Salt Bush Linen, and I'm using the call for flosses. It's on a 36 count, and I'm doing 2/2, and it's working out pretty good. I love that. I don't have that much of it done. It's a big piece. As you can see, it's a pretty big piece, but it's gorgeous. Okay. The next thing I'm working on is Spring Quaker. And that's by Leela Studio, and this is Spring Quaker. Now she's got Summer Quaker came out this year in March at Market. So when I get done with the Spring Quaker, I will be working on Summer Quaker for sure. So here's what I've got done so far. What I've got done so far. This is on Grace Notes fabric. I ended up, instead of using a beige kind of fabric, I ended up using kind of a pinkish Grace Notes from a Fabric of the Month Club. It's called Swiss Mocha, and it's 36 count. I'm using the call for flosses. And I'm doing 1/2 on 36, except where the white is, and the white, because I picked such a light fabric, doesn't show up that much, so I use 2/2 with the white. Again, with my love of everything Teresa Kogut. Teresa Kogut will sometimes put out pieces in her Patreon monthly releases, and then the following year or whatever, she will put them out as a release at Market. And so we had gotten as a monthly this Let Love Rain, and it looked like this to us. This is what we had. The book is beautiful. The book she put out in March, I think it was March of last year, but it was last year, has more than just Let Love Rain in it. But here was the model stitch. So as you can see from this, the model stitch was on a creamier white looking fabric. The original we had shown looked somewhat tannish, greenish tint to it. So when I started this, when the Patreon came out, I pulled together, I don't know if you'll be able to tell with the glare, but I had started it on this fabric, and I was using my own silk conversion. So I started it from the top, and I don't guess you can tell the greenish tint to it. But I wasn't happy with the fabric. I can't tell you why. I just was not happy with how it was coming out. And it's a big, big piece. So I restarted it. And I restarted it from the bottom since I'd already done the top. And so this is where I am so far. So I'll give you a closer up view. And I did this on 36 count Zweigart flax. And I ended up doing DMCs this time instead of silks. And I'm enjoying it. Everything shows up really well. And I tend to like flax or raw linens. It's just, I don't know why. I'm reminiscent kind of the 60s to 70s kind of look. But anyway, I need to finish that. And so it needs to go in my rotation for sure. But anyway, another good reason to join her Patreon is you get these a lot quicker than her releases. Again, my love of Teresa Kogut. This is Remember Me. It was actually a September 2022 Patreon release. For us. It's one of our monthly free releases being on her Patreon. But she released this in March of this year, 2023 at market. It's called Remember Me. I've got that much done. This is on white chocolate linen with the call for DMCs. And this is an example of one where it looks great on this linen, but this linen is kind of stiffer and rougher. And I don't even remember where I got it from, but it looks great on it. It looks great on it, but I don't like stitching on it very much. But we are going to be finishing that one. And I've just got it through my PDF on Patreon. That's why I didn't show the actual pattern. This is Elizabeth Isles. Elizabeth Isles, and it's by the Scarlet Letter. I use 36 count raw natural linen. Again, I like raw natural linen. This time I used a Vicki Clayton silk pack that she made for this. And there's what I've got so far. Two left on these. Moonlight Sampler by the Blue Flower. Oh, glare. This is a pretty interesting one. The call for fabric was wood smoke from Lakeside Linens. And at the time I wanted to start it, I just could not get a hold of that wood smoke. And I tried dyeing some linen. It came close to it, but I just waited it out until the fabric became available. And here's where I've got to. I've worked my way down one side. I need to work my way down the other side. I think I'll go down both sides and then do the middle. also want to do her Huckleberry Farm. So that'll probably be next on my list. I think the last one here is a Quaker Welcome. I had always wanted to do this one. I saw it. I've seen lots of people do it, and I really loved these flowers that were always so vibrant. But what I did is I did my own conversion using sulky thread. So this is doing my own conversion using sulky thread. And I think all I have left is just the black. So I just really need to finish this off. It's a beautiful piece. Okay. Now we're kind of into the realm of things that I'm going to be working on in the future. Things I want to work on. I told you that my son was getting married in October, and so one of the things I wanted to do was do a wedding sampler. I thought even something that lost my shoe, something that he could, or they could both put up, maybe entrance into showers or things like that. And so I found this online. And I thought possibly this might be cute. Put in a nice gold frame, and they can have that forever. It'll have their wedding date and names. So that's got the whole kit with it. It came with 14 count Aida. I won't be using 14 count Aida. I will be getting something else. Maybe 32 count, something like that. So that's something I want to work on. I've got both of these. It's got red work pairs by Annie B's Folk Art and the blue work pairs by Annie B's Folk Art. Now, I've not done a pair before, but I don't think it'll be that hard. And I also got these from Market, like a lot of people do. Float from Plum Street, and Sting from Heartstring Samplery. And those will make pretty little pillows. I got a fabric in the mail from Grace Notes. And it's a beautiful piece. I don't usually do dark pieces, but there are some designs that I want to work on that call for a dark piece. This is from Grace Notes, and I'll just show it to you. I think it's darker than it even appears online, but it is a beautiful piece. It's kind of a brownish, grayish, dark color, and it's called Oh John. So it's a Grace Notes linen, Oh John. And here's some things I was thinking that might be a good match for this. And this is one. I'm going to take it out of the... This is called Wildflowers by Kathy Barrick. And I just thought that would be a great piece to do wildflowers on. Another one that I've been wanting to do by Kathy Barrick is Swan Garden. This one's older, but it's Swan Garden. And that might even work. I think it works better on the other one, but This one's got more grayish to it, but it could work. Another one by Kathy Barrick. I got this one, and I got fabric to do it on the lighter color. I got a flannel flower by Fox and Rabbit over here. But, you know, this darker one over here is really pretty, and it could even be done using this fabric. So, you never know when you get a piece of fabric what you got at home that it might work great for. So those are things that are in my eyesight. I was watching the Cougar Stitcher. If you've never seen the Cougar Stitcher, I should write her name down on something. Because you should look her up. This is the Cougar Stitcher on Flosstube. Her last Flosstube, she showed this piece finished, and it was beautiful, and it made me want to order it, and so I paused and ordered it. Came with the fabric, came with the floss, and with the beads. So that is one probably this summer I'll be starting, because it just seems whimsical and something I'd want to start in the summer. Vanity sampler from Hello from Liz Matthews. That is definitely one I want to do. Remember when I talked about wanting to do more deer samplers? Well, they don't have to be red deers. Here's another deer sampler. It's M.A. Reeve, R-E-E-V-E. That's Kathy Barrick. So I'll be doing that one at some point. And when I showed you the spring Quaker, and I said I want to do summer Quaker, well, this is summer Quaker. So as soon as I get spring Quaker done, I will be doing this summer Quaker. And I've already got the fabric for it, so I'm good to go. I don't know if you're like me, but I've got quite a few kitted up that I just haven't started, that I've wanted to start for a while. I just don't have enough time to do everything that I want to do. But here's May Health and Peace Attend Your Days from Lady's Needle. And I love the border. I want to do that one for sure. Here's another one that I want to do. This is Mrs. Campbell by Hands Across the Sea. I know a lot of people have done this. Try to get the glare off. There we go. That border I love. Those flowers are great. I want to work on that. Susan Rambo. And that is from Sampler Reproduction from Crosspoint Designs. I just think I'm a border person. If I like the borders, I'm pretty much in. I bought this on the secondary market. It is Birds of a Feather Happy Hearts Sampler. And every time I see it done, I just want to do it. And it's just all on the back. That's it. So I'll be using my phone to take pictures and blowing it up, but I really want to do that. I've got several others that I think I'll wait till another time, but too many to list at this time. But I've enjoyed starting having a floss tube. It's kind of been a pain because I'm not very good at the camera and things, and I get my husband to help, but it is what it is. I'll get better. I'll get better at it. It took us about 2 hours to get it to where it would record, and the mic didn't work, and so, you know, we'll get better as we go along. But again, I'd really love for everyone to send me, if you haven't already. I got a lot of responses from people and who they were and where they lived, and a few even told me about their needlework shops they go to. I had wanted to plan a trip to one this week, but because I was sick, I just didn't want to travel when I was sick. So, but I am going to travel to some needlework shops. So let me know what your shop is, or if you have a stitchy meetup that you guys meet once a month somewhere, let me know. And if you want to have a guest to come and just sit in with you and stitch, let me know, and I'd be glad to come. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, so I am in the southeast, but I don't mind driving across country. My husband and I, you know, jump in the car with a little 5-pound dog and we're ready to go. So I enjoy that, you know, just being with him and going and seeing places. So let me know, tell me something about yourself. Really want to find a stitchy community out there that will help me, and maybe I can help somebody else out, root somebody else on when they're working on a project. So I hope you'll join the SAL for the Margarita Seekins, S-Y-P-K-E-N-S, Seekins. And if you are, please look on my Instagram and join us on the Zoom this Saturday night. So, goodbye. See you next time.